All right, welcome to another episode of Ironis Insights, guys. Thanks for joining us. I have a really great guest today, Rey Ortega. He's the founder of Grata Software. Ray, thanks for joining us, man.
Thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it. I'm looking
Yeah,
forward to
where are
it.
you calling from today?
I'm in Orlando, Florida, and right now I'm sitting in an office. I know it has my background virtual here, but I'm actually in the SCORE office here in the National Entrepreneur Center here in downtown Orlando.
That's awesome. Yeah, so thanks so much for taking some time out of your busy day. I am also actually in New York, and this is really not my view right now, but this is my background as well.
Awesome.
So you have a pretty interesting story. I know you're really like a serial entrepreneur, so I'm really excited to kind of hear what about your past and how you got into Grata Software. You mind just taking us through?
Yeah, absolutely. So uh, 20 I've been a software engineer for over 25 years.
Yeah.
Grata Software is my 12th out of or my 12th business that I've started as both a entrepreneur, but most of the businesses were technology based businesses. But
Uh-huh.
this is my most successful business. I've been operating it for 12 years. But I originally, and when I say I've been a software engineer for over 25 years, is because I've been essentially been in technology since I was about 14, 15 years old. I started off actually selling scooters for my dean of students in my high school back in 1997, my senior year. We were selling scooters on just on websites before eBay came out and all the special sites to sell stuff came out. We were selling stuff just via websites. I learned how to build websites, manage websites, maintain them over the years. But I really didn't get really deep into software development until probably 2002, where I started developing web applications and things like that. But the biggest thing is I've always been an entrepreneur. So I've had all these other businesses, even though some of them were tech at the beginning, they weren't. Beginning, a lot of them were brick and mortar type of businesses. Because I come from a line of business owners. My father was an entrepreneur for over 30 years, owned his own company, had about we owned gas stations, apartment complexes, all that kind of stuff. So the entrepreneurial bug was always in me. And so, when you start merging technology with entrepreneurship, it kind of goes hand in hand these days. So I just started building tech businesses. I tried all different things. I tried a media company. I tried to build a web design company. I tried to build all these things. But the problem was I just wasn't well versed in running a company from a more, uh, I don't know what you say, a more traditional sense.
Mhm.
I'm more of a street smarts guy. I could sell things off the street, but I really didn't know how to run a company behind it.
Right.
So finally, years ago, I decided, I'm going to go to college and I'm going to go learn how to run a business, at least the fundamentals. And so I went and I got a business degree from the University of Central Florida. And then I worked at two startups under the recommendation of my mentors at the school. They said, hey, you're already a technology guy. You already know how to code. You already know how to build apps. Why don't you figure out what other entrepreneurs are doing and see if that's something that like you can learn from them how to
Mhm.
run a tech business. So I worked at two different startups, built helped build two companies to multi-million dollars in valuation. And then finally, after that second company, I said, okay, I'm going to do this on my own. And so when I ventured out on my own, the first thing I thought of was, I love entrepreneurship and I love entrepreneurs, and small businesses where it's at, they need the most help. So I decided to go that route. So my company, Grata Software, we've been helping small businesses for the last 12 years build and maintain large scale technologies that help their businesses grow and scale. We have companies that we worked with that started at $800,000 a year. We started with them. Now they're a $40 million business. So we have that ability to find the areas of the business that really need optimization, automation, and even lately AI. And then we help build that into the business. So that's what we've been doing.
That's incredible. I mean, especially focusing on the small businesses. It seems like they're typically the ones that need it most, right?
Yeah.
And you,
Yeah. Small businesses in general, they're mostly mom and pop shops, people that are experienced in a specific skill set that's not necessarily tech. They want to build a business. They know how to find a customer for the most part, because they're already working with people kind of as a freelance for years. But then what happens is they reach this point where now the business needs to be operational, has to have good operations, good management, and they just don't know how to do that. Well, it's mostly because of time, right? When you're the person selling and you're the person also trying to run the business, hard to do both at the same time. So that's why what we do is we try to find things that are mundane, daily tasks that can be done by anybody, and then we try to automate them as best as possible.
Yeah, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Do you focus on any specific niches, or how are you finding your clients specifically? And I know you're really involved in the Florida community
Yeah.
and where you are now. Is
Mhm.
that where you focus, or
Yeah. Originally, we were very agnostic. We didn't really choose a specific niche or market or anything like that.
naturally, right? You got to get business where you can.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's like a it's like a curse in a sense, because when you start off that way and you start making money, you start thinking that that is the way,
Uh,
right? But then you find out pretty quickly, especially when you've been in business for a few years, you start to find out that the reality is you can't really scale at that kind of a, with that kind of a business model.
mhm.
But you don't find that out until things get bad. Now, we've been lucky that we've had many years of great economy, but then we nailed the bad economy. And when we hit the bad economy, that's when it really starts to expose what you're capable of doing or not doing, and what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. So for us in 2022, the economy was pretty bad, in the sense, right before an election year is always a bad year. Everyone's kind of holding on, not, worried about what to invest in, not sure what they're going to invest in. So in our market, in our business, people kind of paused building technology because they didn't really know what to do. AI had just launched, I think it was in October, November that
Yeah.
year. And I say AI, but I mean, like, ChatGPT launched. AI has been around since the 60s, and we've been building AI for 11 years. But the for the to the public, AI had just come out in 2022, and that caused a lot of C-suites to kind of look back and go, now with this AI, we don't know if we should invest in large scale software, or we should invest in some SaaS product. Like, maybe we need to look at this AI thing. So everyone kind of took a pause in 2022. Well, that obviously exposed us in a sense, because we didn't have a specific niche market we were going after. And what happens is a lot of the businesses start to go to the niche vendors. When they contractualize everything, or when they contract in general, they start to go to the more niche vendors and niche everything. Like, we need this specific person because we know that's going to get us the results. So it makes it a lot more difficult in our industry, and probably most industries, I would think. And so we had to look at ourselves and go, well, we definitely need to find some type of place to sit in. And that's where we started doing a lot more artificial intelligence and automation. That's why the tagline, "We were AI before AI was cool." That's
I
where
love
that
it.
came from,
I
because
love
we
that.
really sat there and we were like, we've been doing AI for 11 years, and now everyone's finding out that AI exists, and it's making it look like we are like new to AI. It's like, no, we've been doing AI for 11 years. And so that's kind of where we had to pivot. So we are now focused primarily on AI driven solutions, automated solutions. And we still focus on small businesses. And again, we don't have a specific industry that we go into, but we have niche down to only providing artificial intelligence and automation solutions.
Yeah, no, that's excellent. I mean, it's such an important part, especially of like the buzzwords of AI, right? I mean, it's so it really gets confused, and I guess it could be replaced with machine learning, automation,
Yeah.
all these different
Yeah.
terms, right? That
Yeah.
could that people say AI for everything now, where
Exactly.
it's not, a lot of it's not new. You,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But whatever works. The buzzwords, whatever
Yeah.
whatever
I
you
have
need.
I have a video on TikTok where I go, I'm like, with a cup of coffee, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna drink my AI coffee. I'm gonna check my AI, phone. I'm gonna check my AI this. I'm calling everything in my room AI, because that's literally how it felt. It felt like everybody was using the word AI for everything. And
Yeah.
it was crazy. But yeah.
Yeah, you gotta roll with it sometimes. But I think, in from a serious standpoint, though, I mean, the automation and the simplifying of mundane tasks, I mean, that's like what we're here to do, right? And especially with
Yes.
these, the what I find is, the larger scale companies, of course, mid tier and larger, they have these in-house capabilities. They have the manpower to kind of do these things themselves, and if they don't have to worry about wearing too many hats as a C-suite. They have staff to do it. Now with these small companies, like you said, what I see all the time is, I'm I'm the head sales guy. I also am the guy that handles all the really difficult problems if it comes to me. I'm, I'm,
Yeah.
I'm also doing payroll. I'm also,
Yep. Yeah.
and it's like, and you want to also do some outreach to new clients. Like, well, you can't do it all, right?
Exactly. Well,
And
and it's funny you say that because we have there's a document that we have that we show people where it's like, okay, so business, you have your, let's say, SDR, and the SDR goes to your sales rep, and your sales rep goes to an account executive. Account executive, now you go into inventory if you're selling a product, right? And then from inventory, you have manufacturing. Let's say if you have to build something, and then from manufacturing, you have shipping and labeling, and then you finally have distribution, and then at the end you have customer service. And we show them what most businesses have some form or fashion of that flow,
yep,
right? And that's the problem when you're a small business. You are A to Z, and you're operating maybe with one or two people at the beginning. If you have a partner, person like myself, I didn't have a partner. I had a partner when I first started, but within a year, that partner went and decided to do something else. So I was stuck doing Grata Software all by myself.
mm,
Thankfully, I was an engineer that I could actually work on the project. But you should have seen our sales fluctuation. It was like sales, great. And then when we're working on the project, no sales, no sales, no sales. And then project's done, sales, really good, And so it was just this very volatile flow,
yeah,
cash flow. And that's a big issue that people have in small businesses. So even myself at the time, knowing I could automate, I started putting together things in place that would go out and continue selling for me. So all I would have to do is sit on a closing, and I didn't have to go and find prospects. I didn't have to nurture them through the system. I basically found the right customer, nurtured them through the system using automation. And then finally, when they got to me, it was almost like a close the deal, either close the deal or, we figure out it's not going to be a fit. And then, but I didn't waste all that time having to get on the phone every day or do emails every day or whatever. So I could work on a project as the engineer at the time and then have a whole sales pipeline running for me. And then obviously, once we got busy enough, I flipped it. I hired someone to do the engineering, and then I started focusing more on the sales. And then I was able to start automating like marketing and all these other areas of the front end of the business. And so that's kind of how it goes. Like you start off doing everything, but essentially you just want to start automating things as you go and expand.
exactly. I mean, it's inevitable for some things to fall through the cracks, right? And even if it's you and a partner, you could always blame it on the partner, maybe.
Yeah,
But I'm just kidding. But if it's just you, it's the same thing, right? You're both human, and you get busy, and certain things are going to drop off. You're going to have some leakage there, and that's where the automation really, if you have a system, if you have a workflow that works properly. That's exactly where that shows your value, right?
absolutely. Yep. That definitely shows your value. And that's the great thing about, like what we do, we can automate essentially anything. If it's, the benefit of being a programmer, in our sense of me being a programmer, but also being on the business side, is that I can kind of see the systems, tools, even down to the code of what could be possible, when I'm talking to someone like a
Yeah.
business owner or whatever. And as they're explaining to me their problem, I can start in my head architecting out a solution that is geared towards automate, and I could find the things that could be automated pretty instinctively, when we're going through the process. Especially, we help this one company that they get claims from FEMA, and FEMA, when there's a natural disaster, they send claims to a bunch of adjustment companies, and whoever basically does the adjustment first wins
Yeah.
essentially the money. And when in that industry, when they were explaining to me their whole process, I'm like, well, FEMA already has all the data. I said, your adjusters need all that data. And the reality is, like, why would you have to email them the information? Why can't it just be sent to like a mobile device that they have that they can just easily see, and then go do the work they can on the mobile device, and then it automatically goes right back up to FEMA as a finished product? And as they're talking their way through that process, I'm going, I feel like I could automate this whole process, And so, and that was it 9 years ago, 10 years ago, that company met with us. And now FEMA uses the system that we built as the standard for every other adjustment company because we automated the whole workflow.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
yeah.
That's it's incredible. Especially if they're using it now as as the baseline.
Yeah. Yeah, because we thought about all of it. We thought about because they have specific file structures or data structures, specific file formats, all that stuff. So all we had to do was just program out all of that stuff in the framework in the flow, and now all of that stuff runs automatically. The only human in the loop is actually the adjuster doing his work. But other than that, everything else is done automatically.
Yeah, that's nice. Now with the new tools, yeah, LLMs and whatnot. What are, which ones are you using, and like are they helping you with?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So in 2022, when ChatGPT came out, I literally ran into my team and I said, hey, guys, we need to figure out how this is going to help us move faster in what we do.
yeah,
We were already, like I said, we were already working with LLMs. So we were working with an LLM of a year before ChatGPT came out.
yeah,
I don't know if you ever heard of a company it's called Jasper now, but they used to be called Jarvis. I don't know if that ever rings
yeah,
a bell, if you ever heard them.
yeah.
So they came out they were already out a year before ChatGPT, and they already had a system where you can create blog posts, publications, write a book, do all that stuff using a GPT
Hmm.
model. So they already had that a year prior to ChatGPT. In fact, I found out later that they were actually contracting or white labeling the GPT from ChatGPT from OpenAI.
Hmm.
And so that's how they were out a year before. So we were already using a tool like that because we were always looking for ways that we can automate, simplify.
Always looking to
Now,
improve, right? Exactly. Yeah.
always, every single day, we're always trying to find the next tool, the next thing that's going to help us speed up our processes. And so we were already using that. When ChatGPT came out, it just gave us another tool to look at to see what we can do. Now today, dude, we're all over the place. Today we use Cursor as our IDE when we program, which is a development environment that leverages all the different models, all the different AI models,
Mhm.
to be able to do code. People call it vibe coding. Vibe coding is more like you're coding without knowing how to code. We're not vibe coding, we're coding. We're just using AI to help us speed up the process of our code. So we're using Cursor for that. The model that I use mostly is Claude Sonnet 4.5 thinking model. That's the model I use in order to architect and design what I want to do with the product that we're building. And then inside of Cursor, they have their own called Composer. They have their own model, which actually will write the code. It's doing a better job, far more effective than what Claude was doing before. But still, Claude is my go-to for coding. I use ChatGPT to do research, to create email campaigns. I use Perplexity to do the research on customer sentiments when I'm doing our marketing. I use Gamma to do my PowerPoint presentations, not only for doing public presentations, but also for doing my sales presentations. Once I do a proposal for a customer, I use that. And then, like today, I used Suno to create a music soundtrack for a video bed, a soundtrack bed for a video for a social media thing that for actually the National Entrepreneurship Center. I just did that today for them. So we're basically deep into every
Yeah.
tool of AI here. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It sounds like you're heavily involved with basically all of the top tools that are out there.
Yeah. Yeah, we're and we do social media too, so we obviously use I use Riverside. I actually use Riverside for my podcast
Yeah,
because Riverside has AI editing tools,
yeah,
so
yeah.
we can get a rough edit out, right off the bat as soon as we're
Right.
done. So we have that, and then we used to use Descript and we used to use some of those other ones, but you know how it is, man. There's like 500 tools out there, so we're starting now to go, okay, which ones are we actually using the most of, and then we're starting to cut out the ones that are just there that we don't use as much. But I mean, think about it. Even Grammarly was not an AI tool,
Yeah,
2 years ago, but
yeah.
now Grammarly has AI. So when I use my Grammarly, I'm now using Grammarly's AI rather than just my Grammarly account like I used to.
And now
So
Gemini's taking it all over.
and Gemini has the best context window out of every one of them.
Yeah,
So
Grammarly's in trouble, I think.
I think so. I think so. And the thing is, we use Google, for all of our business stuff. So
Yeah, same.
Gemini is already incorporated. So it's an easy sell for us.
Yeah, it's already baked in and makes it much easier. I
Yep,
mean, it sounds like you
absolutely.
got a lot of things cooking and a lot of things are going well, man. What would you, if you had a magic wand to fix any problem, what do you think you would fix?
Uh, I feel like the problem that I want to fix is the AI glazing. Maybe I guess that would be the only thing I'd want to fix, because it's like, and what I mean by that is because when you use AI on a daily basis on multiple different platforms, and you're using it for professional real work, like we're building really complex things,
Mhm.
we know all of the caveats, like where the problems are. The hard part I feel like needs to be fixed is this perception that we're telling people that AI is going to be able to do everything and replace your work and all that kind of stuff. Like I feel like we're so far away from that,
Yeah,
from all the work that we're doing, even us building when we're building AI solutions and we're borrowing some of the models from these bigger companies. We're even seeing mess ups left and right that just they don't justify the amount of, I don't want to say positive because AI is positive, but you know what I'm saying? It's like there's just this vibe out there that AI is far along than what it really is.
yeah,
There's still a lot of work it needs to do, that needs to be done. In my personal opinion, and I'm a contrarian on this whole AI is going to replace everybody thing, and the reason why is because at the end of the day, coding and programming is all ones and zeros. AI can only regurgitate what it learns. It doesn't learn new information unless you put it into a model that it needs to learn, and then retrain off of that learning. Nobody's really doing that. Everyone's still training new models every 6 months. That's why you see a new release every 6 months from Claude,
yeah,
OpenAI. What they're doing is they're trying to get more accurate reasoning, more accurate responses, less hallucinations. So they're trying to improve the current models that exist,
yeah.
right? They're not necessarily building new models that are going to be doing new things. They're just trying to
Mhm.
fix the ones that currently exist and get them to a much higher, uh, percentage of accuracy. And that's, so I guess that's my only thing is like, if I could wave a magic wand, I would wish that we would get away from this scaring the public and thinking that AI is taking over everything. And, they definitely do need to learn AI. They definitely need to get on board because it's a tool. It's like saying it's like in 1994 when they first released the internet and people were like, well, there's no need for the internet. Like that's dumb. Like, that's how, like the people that look at AI and be like, yeah, there's never AI. I will never use it. It's like, come on,
Yeah,
let's be real. Like
yeah,
it's a tool that is going to enhance what you're doing. Absolutely. But to fear monger this whole general intelligence, and that's the word specific, general intelligence that'll do everything autonomously without the need for human input. I think that's so far away. And I think scaring people today is kind of, you're just creating a bad vibe amongst between people and machines that is not even there yet. We're
well,
not there.
I completely agree. I mean,
Yeah.
there definitely needs to be some human behind it to drive it, right? And right now, like you said, I mean, it's literally just regurgitating the info that it's put in. It's only as good as the information that we put in. It's also only as good as the questions you ask. So,
Exactly.
I mean, you have to learn how to use it. It's like the number one, and I get this question all the time, especially like from someone who maybe some type of someone in administration, right? Which are one of the main type of folks that are afraid to lose their job, right?
Yep.
Well, there's a lot that you do that an AI cannot do on its own,
Yep.
and that's just knowing the ins and outs of your boss. That's knowing that he doesn't prefer the late morning meetings. He prefers early morning meetings. Like all these
Mhm.
little things that are human. And they're like,
Yep.
well, what can I do to save my job? I said, learn it, embrace it.
Yes.
Like quit worrying about it so much. Just dive into it. Just like
Exactly.
just dive into it with a little bit of curiosity, and you can really flourish. And that's the biggest step for most people is just taking that initial step. And I think
Yes.
that's where companies like Grata, can really help.
Yeah, I mean, it's really funny because I talk to people about being a contrarian in this whole AI glazing
Mhm.
thing, but at the same time, my presentations are all training people how to use AI in their everyday
Yeah,
business. So it's like, so I'm definitely not against it. It's not
yeah.
about being against it. It's about learning how to use it correctly, like you said, so that you can leverage it for your own career or your own business or whatever it is that you're doing, so you can get an advantage. That's really what it is. And again, we've been using AI for 11 years. So we were using AI before people found out what AI could do or that it even existed. At least the public, because there's a lot of technical people that knew it existed
Mhm.
years before. We built our first AI model in, was it 2013, 2014?
Mhm.
We built a neural network for a nonprofit in California. And it was like, and a neural network essentially is the backbone of AI. For anyone that's wondering what I mean by that, that's literally the mathematics that determines what is the highest probability that these things go together. And so we were doing that again, 12 years ago, not even, yeah, 12, 13 years ago now. So yeah, it's here. It's good. It's just you just learn it and use it as a tool.
Yeah, I believe that. So it's there's a lot of positive in it, and you just have to figure out how to use it to the best of your ability and take it to your advantage, man.
Yep, absolutely,
Well,
absolutely.
thanks so much for joining us, Ray. I really appreciate your time. I just want to, yeah, thank you so much for, jumping on here. I wanted to ask you where can the viewers find you and your company? Where's the best place?
So Grata Software. So if you go Grata Software, gratasoftware.com. If you go gratasoftware.com, that is our custom software development company. That's where we're at there. If you add the word go dot gratasoftware.com/AI, I actually have a whole program that I offer for free. It's a program that shows you how you can leverage ChatGPT AI to, if you have a business, to be able to find customers, create an offer, and then also how to create your social media content for that offer and your business, all using artificial intelligence. I have bots that we built that walk you through a few questions, and it actually helps you build out a whole marketing campaign, using artificial intelligence. So it's pretty cool.
That sounds really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
I really appreciate it. We'll hope you have a great weekend. We're here on Friday at 4 o'clock Eastern. So I hope you have a good one.
all right. Well, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, man.